It all started with a discussion of me and my friend that I met in high school about Andrew Tate, and his opinion was that Andrew Tate wasn't talking a bunch of shit and a bunch of misogynist things, and that he was really talking about important things in life and true things. And I was like shocked because I knew this guy and we were talking about a bunch of different things and we were getting along, and all of a sudden he tells me that he's an Andrew Tate fan, and he also told me after we talked a little bit that I should watch one of the podcasts of him and then form my opinion about him. And I mean, I thought about it, and I mean, he was right, he is right, that I really didn't know anything about Andrew Tate except the whole propaganda in social media about him. Yeah, so I watched a podcast of him with Piers Morgan on Spotify, and all the things Piers Morgan confronted Andrew Tate with, he could answer logical, and many of the opinions were really intelligent and so. So I watched more and more in this niche, in this masculinity discipline, online making money thing, and as I'm watching more and more of these things, my algorithm shifted more and more in this direction, and with my algorithm my mindset shifted more and more in that direction, and I really wasn't on self-improvement yet. I saw these videos about glow-ups before and after, and how guy looks really bad before and then he trains and he looks really good after, these glow up videos. And I wanted to do one of these glow ups in the holidays because I had more time, so I told myself, okay, I'm gonna do one of these glow ups during summer break. But with the beginning of the summer break I forgot that I wanted to do this, and during the end of the summer break, I remembered that I wanted to do one of these glow ups, but my whole family and I did go to Turkey for the holidays. But I really wanted to do this, so it was a lot harder to do these glow up habits. But I wanted to do this, so I watched more and more of these fitness things, and with these fitness things, I discovered Hamza Ahmed, and he got me really into the self-improvement niche, because Andrew Tate, we could argue if he is a self-improvement creator or not, but he really got me into the self-improvement. And yeah, after I discovered him, I don't wanted to do the glow up anymore and just did the self-improvement habits. And we had a balcony and I sat always there and meditated in the hot sunlight of Turkey, and it was a really good time, yeah. At this time I did the gratitude journal on my phone, and I think I still have it, the whole gratitude journal entries. Yeah, it's a really nostalgic time for me. But that's how I got on self-improvement. I'm out Max and try to help the Muslim Ummah become the best version of themselves. That's my introduction. You're probably wondering, why self-improvement? Self-improvement, by definition, will give you the best life. If it doesn't, you're doing it wrong, because self-improvement is about improving yourself and improving your life. If any of the self-improvement habits and self-improvement routines and self-improvement mindsets or any of these things, if they on the long run downgrade your happiness and your experience of life and this, it's not self-improvement for you. Self-improvement is highly individual. So if you do any of the self-improvement things and you do it for a few months, a few weeks, or even years, if it's a bigger thing, and you notice how you feel worse, you're probably doing it wrong. So by this definition of self-improvement, if you're doing self-improvement, your life can't get worse. Also, self-improvement is all about dedicating your entire life to becoming the best version of yourself. It's a life path. Because, I mean, if you think it through, if you start self-improvement and after a while you want to quit for whatever reason, you can't live the same, because you know about self-improvement and you always have this thing in your mind that you know you have a higher potential and you can do this and this. And if you every time you do a bad habit, you're thinking consciously in your mind what is going to happen if you do that, and it's just like a really nasty way to live life. So I mean, I think most of the people that are not on self-improvement are really unhappy. But if you start self-improvement and quit, which you wouldn't do anyways, you will gonna be even unhappier because of these things. But you need balance, right? You can't dedicate your whole entire life to just doing this. Not really. How about you use the same logic on heroin? A bit of heroin is fine, right? Once a week is fine. It's the same logic with these people who say, but 1 hour of video games is fine at the end of a hard day, or a cheat meal, a cheat day, because I'm eating really clean. I want to give me like a prize for eating clean. I mean, you're poisoning yourself, right? I mean, not really, it's not poison, but it's like the same logic. You're poisoning yourself. You're doing something to yourself, or not doing something to yourself, which is gonna lead into worse life and shorter life and all these things for a short-term pleasure. That's on top. If you drink like poison or something like that, it really doesn't gonna taste very well or doesn't feel very well. In the heroin analogy, it does, but heroin, you doing it to yourself. It's a drug. You're doing it to yourself, and all the things get worse. Your brain gets worse. Your body gets worse. You get older in a shorter amount of time, and the same things are with like eating junk food or so. So, I mean, if you're doing heroin every day, it is no argue worse than doing it once a week. But you wouldn't argue that then once a week is fine. In the best case, you're not doing heroin at all. And the same logic is with eating junk food. You don't need a cheat meal or a cheat day. These things were invented because if you're eating things that are not good for you, your body gets like, I don't know, poisoned, and you get addicted to the substance. And so the normal things, because of the dopamine that is released by eating junk food, the normal things don't taste as well. I'm gonna do about a video about dopamine and the baseline levels and stuff, but I mean, you know it. You know how drugs work, and you can really compare heroin to any of the bad habits: junk foods, video games, watching TV, all this stuff. You have to cut out the bad habits completely, because these fun things, video games, junk food, parties, watching movies, are not fun. Because if you really think about it, you're eating like the junk food, and after you swallowed the junk food, the taste is gone, and your body gets worse. You look into the mirror, you feel worse, you are heavier, all the people are laughing at you at class and in sport, and all the people are running faster than you and getting better grades, and you can't even read the sentence on your book because you have this brain fog. It's a really, really bad experience if you do bad habits. And I mean, especially, let's use the example of video games. You can, if you say, okay, I'm playing 1 hour, 1 hour every week and not more, you don't cut out the bad habit completely, and only, even if you're just playing it 1 minute every week, just because you're consistently playing it every week, it saps like 10% of your brain power, of your brain storage, because it's a new thing that is in your life. You have to cut it out completely out of your life, so because like the first percent of the thing, I mean, let's say with the video game example, if you just from 0 to 1, from 0 minutes you're not playing it at all, to you playing it 1 minute every, let's say, week, from 0 to 1, it's like 50%, let's say. It's a bit extreme, but 50% of the whole impact it could have on your brain, because it is in your brain now. Before it wasn't in your brain. You didn't have to think about it at all. Now you could think about it and think about the whole structure of the video game, and it's a whole new world with the units of cash and the whole upgrades and new characters and new levels and new bosses. Only this 1 minute opens you a whole new world, which is gonna already sap 10% of your brain. Now think about how it would be if you play 1 hour a week or so. So if you have to cut it out completely. For this reason and the previous reason here, with the heroin example. And these fun things aren't fun, this masturbation, because it is only fun for the short term. And I mean, if you think about this time, if you go on a fapathon and fap 5 times a day, after you're done and you think about that day, and we ask you how did you feel on that day, you're gonna tell us you didn't feel as you didn't feel this nasty and sad and depressed in a long time. So I mean, what I'm trying to tell you is that if we ask you how was this day for you, you would say you were really ashamed of this day and really depressed, and I mean, you feel like goblin kinda, and it's like nasty and this stuff. But if we gonna ask you about the day where you really, really pushing hard on your training set and you're grunting and you're sweating and you don't want to do this, and maybe it's a boxing match and you get fist after fist in your face, and maybe your lips are popped and your nose popped, but it was a really good session and you got to your limits. And after 1 week or so, and we ask you about that day, you're gonna tell us actually it was really fun and you were really productive and you did learn a lot of things about boxing and this. So really, in the short term, maybe fun things about video games, junk food, and porn and this stuff. In the short term, these things do make you feel better, but in the long run, in your whole entire life, you will feel worse because of it. But in these things about working out or a boxing match or eating really healthy, sprinting, going to bed on time and this stuff, maybe it doesn't feel as good in the short term, but in the long term you're gonna feel much happier by just existing. So you could put me in a room and I'm gonna be more happier in a room with nothing in it, so no phone, no, I don't know, junk food or video games or this stuff. And if you put me in this room, I'm gonna be happier than an average person put in this room, because I did these whole habits that are gonna lead to a more happy long-term life. And this long-term pulse has the effect until the moment where I am in this room, if you understand what I mean. But what about getting a burnout? Like said, if through self-improvement you start to suffer, you're doing it wrong. And self-improvement, because if you suffer, you're doing it wrong, has a aspect of it that is called mental health. It's all about preventing burnouts and being grateful and being mindful and being happy in your life. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it later in the video. Also, it's really fun. The exact way you grind in video games, you should grind in real life. Because these video games are made to resemble the real life. So, I mean, that's why most gamers are men, because men have a few things that they want. They want status, they want brotherhood, and they want to progress. And brotherhood you have with this whole community thing in the game. Then you have status with levels and stats and attributes in your game that you can level up, and you have progress with the same thing you grind. You grind in the one stat or one character or this and this. And I mean, really, this how you grind in video games. You are made to get this grinding and put it in your real life with your character, your person. You're playing this body with you can say stats of hand grip and how fast you are at VO5. VO5 is this stat for heart pumping. Or if you have an Aura ring or a Whoop band, you can look at the metrics of your sleep and grind in that. So if you start looking at life like a video game and quantify all the things, which I did at the beginning, I quantified all things, all metrics that I could think of. If you start to vision your life like a video game, it starts to excite you a little bit and motivate you, and you think like, yeah, I could grind, but because life has a few negative things, people want to play more video games instead of grinding in real life, because video games don't have these negative things. Like, for example, if you die in a video game, you just respawn. If you die in real life, I don't know if you really gonna risk this, or if you get hurt, it really hurts like a signal is sent to your brain and you want to stop it. If you get hurt in a video game, it's just a stat that goes lower. Probably you start coping right now. But what are you exactly defending? Anime, TikToks, Instagram, video games, junk food, I mean, really, really observe the thing. The thing you are defending right now, you should eliminate at first, because you are addicted to these things, and your brain is really, really good in finding anything to cope with, and your brain doesn't want you to stop doing these things that are valuable dopamine sources for your brain. But it's really important that you are going to do such a dopamine detox. I'm probably going to do a video about how you dopamine detox. But it's really important that you do go into one of these dopamine detox, so that the whole thing can reset. So just be careful about your limiting beliefs and that you don't cope with things, because the brain doesn't like change. You're addicted and you know it, and you know it's not good for you. Let me tell you, in the moment it feels like you miss out, but you'll feel better in the long run. Look, like said, you're addicted and your dopamine system doesn't want you to lose this source of dopamine. And I mean, do you really, this coping you're doing right now, you know that porn is f***ing up your mental health, and you know it's probably not good for your whole system either, and no, it does not improve prostate cancer risk chances. And junk food, it's not about just macros, and I mean, so, and you know that social media makes you less social, and you don't have good or much friends, and you know these all things, so don't cope. You know it's not good for you. You've heard it. You've heard about the obesity crisis. You've heard about the loneliness crisis. One of it is due to junk food. One of it is due to social media. You know about the purposeless crisis of men, specifically for men, and that's a big part of it is due to video games. You know also this whole sexuality thing in the media, and that people have too high standards for their partners, or this infertility crisis, and these all things that these things are due to porn. You know it's not good. Don't cope. You know these things we are talking about in self-improvement are not good. So don't cope, please. Let me tell you, like I said, in the moment it feels like you'll miss out. That's because of this dopamine in your head, that you don't want to lose this source of dopamine, the source of one last hit, and these things. That's why you feel like missing out. But like said, in the long run, in the long term, you're gonna feel better. And really, just try it for 30 days. And if you start coping right now, because no, I'm gonna do it later, and no, I'm gonna or any of these excuses why you don't do the 30-day of this one specific thing you have in your mind right now. If you cope at any of these things, then you do it for 90 days. Because if you cope for anything, that I'm specifically that I talked about, the problem is even worse, and you have to detox from it 90 days. So what I'm going to tell you, you're going to this one thing, only this one thing you had in your mind, and if you start coping, I don't have anything in my mind, okay, good, then you start with junk food, okay? Just if you had one thing in your mind, if you didn't have anything in your mind, you start with junk food. 30 days, no junk food, and if you argue in your head right now, you do it for 90 days. Trust me. After I'm on your side. I don't want you to be less happy, all this stuff. But trust me, just try it for 30 to 90 days. You're gonna feel better. Trust me. So what is self-improvement about? Self-improvement, like I said, is a life path. You try to improve your life in every aspect so you become the best version of yourself. Simple. Most of your habits that are not good for you, you're addicted to. Your own brain will try to defend it. Question all of your beliefs at any time. If you find something or someone, eliminate it immediately. So like I said, your brain is addicted to a bunch of stuff in this modern day. And most of the stuff you're addicted to, you overdo. And because you overdo it, it's not good for you. Makes sense, right? And I mean, if you're really addicted to anything and it's not bad for you, it's also not good for you because of because of the mental health aspect. So if you're addicted to, I don't know, anything, I mean sport or something like that, but it's not like excessive sport, you're just addicted to a good amount of sport. Sport is good for you, but being addicted to it is bad because of the mental health aspect. So your own brain will try to defend this thing you're trying to defend. You're addicted to, I mean. And your brain is really good in its coping, like said. So you have to question your beliefs, because I mean the thing you believe, I mean, let's divide your brain into two parts. Your logical brain, that is for now on going to start self-improvement, and your brain that is trying to defend the whole bad habits and stuff, the addicted brain. I mean, you only have one brain. It's just one. So you don't know which of your beliefs are the self-improvement beliefs and the logical beliefs and the beliefs you know are good for you and which are bad for you. You don't know it because it's only one brain. So you have to question the beliefs you have in your mind, if they really are just because you are addicted to the thing, or if it's really logical. Because a lot of things that are famous in the self-improvement niche for being good, I think are actually bad for you. And you could argue, yeah, it's like you're coping and you don't want to do this and do that, but I'm really self-reflected and I know that these things are actually good for me and I'm not coping. And if you find something or someone that's brutal, eliminate it immediately. Yes, persons are included. You have to eliminate people that are not good for you. And I'm not only talking about the bullies in your class. I'm talking about your friends. I'm gonna probably do a separate video about that. Balance is a scam that was made as an excuse to cope with. Even a bit of any bad habit isn't fine. Like said, balance is a scam. Like said before, I'm starting to telling you the same things I told you in the beginning of the video. But balance is just a scam that addicted people made up, in many of the cases just made up, to have an excuse why they have a cheat meal or play 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day of video games or stuff. Like said, even a bit of any bad habit isn't fine, for the reason of the heroin analogy. Exceptions: training to be a F1 driver. My cutter wants to be a F1 driver in the future. Realistic simulators, or for example Instagram for business. For me, for example, actually one of the best cases is if you don't have social media at all and your whole informations come from researching papers or reading books or something. But for me, for example, I'm researching on YouTube a lot of things, and this channel I'm making a business out of this channel. These are exceptions, but don't cope. If you're watching, chances are you don't want to be an F1 driver, or you can do your sport outside of a simulator, of a simulation, because that was one of the exceptions that I was talking about. If you're Muslim, I want you to understand one thing. If you research more and more about Islam and more about self-improvement, you notice that most of the things, most of the habits in Islam and most of the habits in self-improvement, I'm not talking about big habits, just most of the habits are aligned with each other. For example, Salah, the praying in Islam, is overlapping with the meditation in self-improvement, and meditation is one of the key pillars of self-improvement. It's one of the biggest things. Or another example, sabr means patience, or you could describe it with discipline. Sabr is just, or you could say like doing the good habits is sabr, because you have the patience doing something without getting any reinforcement for it, without getting anything back from doing it, like training, like meditating, like any good habit in self-improvement, and doing it without seeing any results and then seeing results. That's sabr, that's patience. Or you could say discipline. Or you could go back to the pillars of Islam. Ramadan, Zawm, fasting. Fasting is also a really big topic in the self-improvement niche. If you go to the mental health aspect, if you buy something for $5 for yourself, you get a less of a mental health boost than if you give these $5 to someone else or buy something of it for someone else. And there you have zakat and sadaqah. So my key mission is to give the Muslim Ummah the realization that self-improvement is a far bigger part of Islam than the most Muslim realize. Yeah, and I just wanted to tell you that. Next chapter, men versus women on self-improvement. Self-improvement for men and women is completely different, because men and women are completely different. No disclaimer here. Masculinity is all about doing, while femininity is all about being. Here, the story of me in childhood game roles. So, I remember in kindergarten that we had games. I don't know what we played, but there was always games, and one had a leader role, or two or three had a leader role, and we, I don't know, fought each other in like silly games or so, and the rest were followers of these leaders. Like I said, I don't know what we played at this time, but what I remember was that everyone obviously wanted to get these leader roles because it was cool to be a leader. But one time I got the realization that being a follower is kind of cooler, because you don't have the responsibility and the whole, because like if you're a leader, all the people are following you, and you decide what you're gonna play or what we're gonna do, and there are a bunch of kids, and you have to tell, okay, you do this, you do that, you do this, and we are going to fight them or something like that. But you have to think for everyone. But if you get the follower role, like the most of the kids, you don't have any responsibility. You can give them, the leader, a few ideas, but you didn't have to give them any ideas, and you can just wait for the leader to tell you what to do. And if the other team is better than you didn't have any responsibility for it. So what I want to tell you with that, the leader role is not a higher role in society or in any of the societies or roles or something of the constructs. If I tell you that a woman is a follower and the man is the leader, many of the people, including me in before 1 year, would think, man, but that's misogynistic. No, it's not misogyny if I tell you that women are followers and men are leaders, because leader is not a higher role than a follower. It has it's more polarizing. It has more upsides and downsides, and a follower has less upsides but also less downsides. You have the upside of leading if you're a man, if you want to tell, but with the leading there comes also the responsibility. It's equal. You have more upsides and more downsides. If you want to look at leading as an upside, that's also highly individual. Now, the practical difference behind how men and women should do self-improvement. The ideal order of priority. So, mental health, social skills, femininity, masculinity, spirituality, money, dating, social connections, appearance, looks, mixing, fitness, physical health. I'm gonna briefly explain this. This whole thing of ideal order of priority, you don't have to do it. I'm gonna do it a bit overcomplicate self-improvement. If you don't want to do that, it's all fine. I don't just recommend for you to watch it. This part is just for the people who want to do anything the best way, or don't know how to what to begin with. So I can tell you, the first big block of my self-improvement journey was just me switching from this aspect to that aspect, depending on what my algorithm gave me and what I'm interested in this specific hour of the day. So I can remember that I was watching anything about dating, and I got to where does this send? Here, Luxmaxing, and from Luxmaxing to mental health, and from mental health to social skills, then to money, then to physical health, fitness. So, but if you're switching, you don't get much things done. Get more done if you focus on one specific thing at one time, and then the other, and then the other, and then the other. That's how you make the most progress. But many of the things overlap here. For example, these three things overlap highly, or these two things, or these two things. So I'm gonna clarify a bit. If I'm talking about Luxmaxing, I'm talking specifically about fitness and physical health are a big part of Luxmaxing. But you can these things are so big topics: physical health with all the biohacks, and eating liver, and red light therapy, and sunlight exposure, and these things is a really big part. And in physical health, for example, fitness is also a really big part. You could dedicate 1 or 2 years on physical health alone without fitness, because it's such a big topic. And fitness, you could dedicate a big time block just to when I'm talking about fitness. It's just like these losing fat, building muscle, creatine, and like the optimal training and these things. It's all about this. Nutrition is a mix of physical health and fitness. If you are going to talk about nutrition in the fitness sense, it's more protein and a bit of boosting testosterone, maybe, with food and stuff. But if you're talking about physical health and nutrition, it's more like the optimal micronutrients, and which food is the best, and this stuff. If I'm talking about appearance or Luxmaxing, fitness is a really big part, because of building muscle and losing fat. And physical health is a really big part because of your skin. You don't want to have a dry skin or pimples. But Luxmaxing is a really big part, so you could just focus on Luxmaxing without fitness or this stuff, just by the style, how you wear, which clothes you wear, how you wear the clothes. Colognes are a really big part. And yes, I would put skincare and hair care with Luxmaxing in the same category. Social connections and social skills are really big connected. Social skills are more like how you can interact with people, and social connections are like the people you have in your life. How good are the connections between each other? So if you have a lot of discussions with your mother, or you are in a toxic relationship. If you focus on social connections, you focus on fixing this. But if you couldn't, I don't know, say hello to your neighbor in the morning, or good morning to your neighbor in the morning, and you want to fix it, that would be social skills, because these are such big topics that I put it on the in different categories. Femininity and masculinity are that you are looking between your legs, what do you have there, and if you're male, you try to get more masculine. If you're female, you try to get more feminine. Spirituality instead is that you try to find what you believe in. I believe in Islam. If you focus on spirituality, you first try to find which religion you believe in, which religion is the most logical in these things, and if you found something, to strengthen your belief in this religion. Yeah, so, and mental health is just not having anxiety, not being depressed, not being happy, not being happy, being happy. These things so being happy, talking to people, femininity, masculinity, finding your religion. Money is self-explanatory, making money. Dating is self-explanatory, getting a life partner. Social connections, your connections you have in your life. Your appearance, looks maxing is style, fragrances, skincare, hair care, these things. Fitness is most building muscle, losing fat. Building strength is also a part, or like calisthenics tricks or these stuff. And physical health are more these biohacking, Whoop, Oura Ring, sleep tracking, red light therapy, sunlight exposure, eating liver. Okay, just to clarify. So the ideal order for men. So everyone has a topic which led to the person being interested in self-improvement. You want to start fulfilling this thing first until you're a bit satisfied with it. So if you found self-improvement because you wanted to get a girlfriend because you're lonely, you focus on this part. If you found self-improvement because you want to look better, you focus on looks maxing, this thing. Then, as soon as possible, we try to fix the whole thing. We try to detox your mind and then your body from the modern day bullshit. So first we try to improve your mental health, because your mental health is likely fucked, and your social skills for the same reason. After that, if you did a period and you feel like, I'm gonna do also a guide on mental health, you can get like literal scores, official scores of your mental health. So if you got your score to a pretty good point, and your social skills are pretty good, you start by focusing on masculinity and spirituality. You try to focus on masculinity by things like fitness and martial arts, and after you got into more in the masculinity thing, with the masculinity you can combine these two aspects. You try also to find the meaning of life, and which, I don't know, religion or worldview is the same. For me, it's like that Islam. Then you could have free space, so you can from these things that I have here decide which of them are the the most important, or which in general which of them you want. Then you have money. You could skip the fourth part and go to money. That's what I did. And then you have free space, and then you have dating, and then you have free space. I put it in this order because for me personally, and probably for most of the self-improvement, so in general, you should have money before dating as a man, because you want to provide for your woman as a man. You have the job of providing for your woman. It doesn't mean that you are just here to give your woman money. The woman should love you without the money, but you should first start dating if you could improve, if you could date some, if you could provide for your woman. These free spaces I put there because you don't have to get your money right after you found your religion, or after you got more masculine. You could do something in between, but the important part is that you did money before you did dating. You could have something in between. I would recommend you to have something in between. Looks maxing. I would recommend looks maxing, and if it doesn't, if you don't have enough social skills, it is also not as useful for dating. Also, I would say you should only date if you have if you have enough self-improvement experience. So, if you understand what a marriage means and what building a family means, and if you're at a point where you don't have any severe addictions anymore, then you could think about dating. And after you date, you can you can decide yourself which of the aspects you want to focus on. For Mona, it's a bit different. It also is the transition interest to self-improvement. Then also mental health and social skills, because you have to detox about these, about the whole depressing things you have in your mind. And then you want to focus not on masculinity, on femininity. Why I said you have to focus on these things is because the whole propaganda you have in the nowadays, it depolarizes us. So the men get more feminine and the women get more masculine, and we want to detox these things, and put it right in the natural place for us. So femininity and spirituality. If you want to improve femininity, you should start journaling and getting yourself hobbies that you like. An important part here, if what you probably realized, is journaling and hobbies, and here and here fitness and martial arts. That doesn't mean that a woman shouldn't do fitness and men shouldn't journal. It's just that fitness goes more into the direction of masculinity, and journaling goes more into the direction of femininity. But both of them are really, really important for both. It's just that it just slightly leans more into the direction. So you should start with this. I think that you could argue that if women should do martial arts, because some argue that women should defend themselves, but some also argue that it gives women a kind of fake fake feeling of security because they think they can fight off a man, but these people who argue like that say that no matter how much experience, or for the average girl, if an average girl who trains 1 year of boxing or 1 year of jiu-jitsu, if there's a grown-ass man in front of her, she's probably gonna destroy the girl. So that's how the people argue. If you argue like that, martial arts is not for women, and hobbies in the women's section is not for men, because men shouldn't have a side thing except martial arts, except if you want to get money from it, essentially. So you should not have, I don't know, martial arts is an exception to that. I think every man should defend themselves, but you shouldn't, I don't know, have a hobby for... What hobbies are there? So you shouldn't have you can have hobbies like wall climbing, all this stuff, but I mean, what I want you to understand is, the more hobbies you have that not align to the thing that you want to do essentially, so your purpose, the more distracted you are to your purpose, from your purpose. So you can have some hobbies, but it's not the same as for women, because women should have hobbies. It is a key part of femininity, I think. And then spirituality, of course. You should know which religion is the truth, or which world view is the truth. And then you have free space, and you don't need phases. That means you can switch from this thing to the other. You should go with the flow. That's a really important sentence. I want a woman to remember that what are watching my videos. Go with the flow. If you don't have anything you want to focus on, you can just do whatever you want. It's the same thing. I mean it, because for women it's self-improvement is a lot more different than for men, because it's more like men. It's more like hustle, grind. More is better. Harder, better, new. This whole thing. Grind, competition. It's like you're fighting against all other men of the world. In women, it's just a simple mindset switch to self-improvement, and then going with the flow, doing whatever you want. Spontaneity, if that's a word. So being spontaneous. I hope you know what I mean. So just going with your emotions. If you go too much into this discipline mindset as a woman, and to progress more, if you doing more to progress more, you progress less, because you're going against your nature. So you don't need phases, you don't need to focus on one specific thing, putting your head down. You don't need this. You can do it, you should do it for the first 3, but you don't need. In this free space, you should do one phase of fitness, and then you could start dating. You should also, it is recommended to do one phase of looks maxing. So in this free space you should do one phase of fitness, and as recommended, one phase of looks maxing. Then you can do dating, also only with the necessary self-improvement experience, and after that you have this free space and also no phases needed. If you are here as a man at stage 8 and as a woman at stage 6, you are in the self-improvement space integrated. You will know what to do at this point, so don't think about that by now. So now I don't want you to go with nothing, because that's my first real video. So I tell you about the fundamental mindset changes with self-improvement, so you have something to implement really. So self-improvement is simple. Like said, improve yourself to be the best version of yourself. If you don't, I'm gonna say it, I think the 5th time, if anything does get your life worse, in a worse place, you feel worse, it's not self-improvement. You're not improving yourself, so it's not self-improvement anymore. The student mindset is that you don't get an ego, and you accept for not knowing everything at the end of your life, that you're a lifelong learner, a lifelong student. That's the student mindset. That you're not perfect, you didn't learn out, you're gonna learn your whole life. That's the mindset you should implement. So the 3rd mindset is ego is the enemy. That you should have confidence, but not ego. Ego is like, I'm better than you because of this and because of that. You can be confident that you are gonna do, you are good at one thing and this whole stuff, but there's a line that you don't ever gonna cross, and this line is, I'm better than you. Objectively, maybe you are better than some other in a specific part. So, for example, you are better at boxing than I am, or you are faster than I am. Then you are in this specific aspect better than me, but you are not better as a person. And also, if you're really at every aspect better than another person because you did self-improvement and he or she didn't, that doesn't mean that you are a better person. That just means that you had the privilege to get the mindsets that you need and the persons that you need and the videos that you need, so that you thought to yourself, fuck it, I'm gonna try this self-improvement thing, and you stick to that. You had a privilege to start self-improvement. You are not better than the person. That's the mindset. Ego is the enemy. Then the fourth mindset is the self-image mindset. You're not going to change anything about yourself unless your self-image changes. I'm probably also going to do a video about that, but it's like now, probably because your self-image will update after this video, that you are on self-improvement officially, you are going to not eat junk food anymore, for example, if you do the 30-day challenge I challenge you to. Because you have now this mindset of, I'm on self-improvement, I'm a self-improvementer, so I'm on self-improvement. What does someone do who is on self-improvement? They eat clean, or they go to the gym or they meditate. But if you think to yourself, that's a really big part of people who smoke and can stop smoking. If you think, okay, I'm a smoker, you will not stop smoking, because what does a smoker do? He smokes. She smokes. That's the self-image mindset. You won't change your mind. You won't change your behavior until the person you see yourself as changes. This video is longer than I thought. That's a torture for my cutter now, but I'm gonna find an end to this video. If you implement the things I told you and you try this 30-day challenge at the start of the 30-day challenge, and at the end of this video you officially started self-improvement. I'm really proud of you. Assalamu alaikum and see you in the next one.